Thank you for stopping by the Cup of Joe Weather and Drone booth at the League of Municipalities Conference. I'm meteorologist Joe Martucci, certified broadcast and certified digital meteorologist. I hope you got to take in and enjoy all the offerings we have for your municipality. Surely Safe program is your white glove weather concierge. We're in your streets to talk about weather and emergency messaging, all with the goal of keeping your residents more prepared and saving them money through the FEMA Community Rating System. Try out one of our drone programs. Whether you need videos or photos for your event or need your staff to be trained in their FAA Part 107 license, we can provide both here at our company. And if you're interested in reaching a weather-focused audience right here in the state, you can advertise with Cup of Joe Weather and Drone. Whether it's advertisements in our streaming weather channel or throughout our video or social media content, you will get great reach at a great price. Thanks again for stopping by our booth at the New Jersey League of Municipalities. We'll hope to talk to you soon. Now, drought, this is interesting because we haven't seen more drought, but we've seen more extreme drought and more extreme wet periods too. This goes back to 1895, and we see a good balance between dry periods and wet periods. However, if you look at the intensity of the reds on the upper part of the chart or the intensity of the blues on the bottom part of the chart, you'll see them getting more intense, those colors, as you go from left to right here, especially with the drought we had in 2024 into early 2025, which prompted a drought warning by the state. They set the policy, and we were in an extreme drought, or a level 3 of 4 drought by the United States Drought Monitor. When it comes to precipitation, it looks a little more muddled, a little more hanging around that black line, that 1895 to 2024 average. However, we actually have seen more rainfall in recent decades here across the area. Not by much, but by a noticeable amount still. Snowfall, this is for Newark, and this goes back to the mid-1800s here. We have data back to then, and that's why I'm using this. And you see a long decline downward. In the mid to late 1800s, you could expect about 75% more snow than what we see now in Newark. And this is true for a number of different locations across New Jersey. We have, since 2000, seen a little bit of a gain in snowfall, but the longer term trend has been less snow. Why is that? Well, because we're seeing heavier snow. We're seeing more snow falling at once. And we're not seeing as much snow, in November or late March, where those snowfall totals are usually less. In other words, when it snows, it really snows, and when it rains, it's been more likely to pour as well. So here's a look at our temperatures for the state of New Jersey throughout its period of record. This goes back to 1895. You see that upward trend, but you see that, hey, compared to this black line, that's the average line, we aren't all that much higher. But that's the 1991 to 2020 average. That's what we as meteorologists say when we're talking about temperatures being above or below average. Hey, this September day is 5 degrees above average. We're referring to the 91 to 2020 climate average. That is re-upped every 10 years, and it goes off a 30-year period. So in 2030, we'll look at a 2001 to 2030 climate average. But look what happens when we look at the entire period of record. Now we see a lot of years that are above this entire period of record average in the past couple of decades. And if you go back to the first 30 years of temperatures here in New Jersey, that average was 50.6. We haven't been there since the mid-1980s. We haven't had a year that would be average for, let's say, 1900 since the mid-1980s here, and we're only getting warmer. So it's important to know your time period because we have different averages based on what you might see. So it's always good when you're looking at something pertaining to climate change, not weather, but climate change, to know what the average time period is. Here's another way of seeing it, and this is from Ed Hawkins' Warming Straits. Climate Central, which is in Princeton, New Jersey, uses this a lot.